The Record Courier ran a huge 3-column preview of the game at the top of the sports page that week, featuring a picture of defensive tackle and team kicker Norm Clark, whom they labeled a demon on defense. The game was at Atwater. It was their homecoming game, and the weather had turned brutal. Didn't matter. The Bombers were going to win for Ed Ryan, and they did, 19-0. Stan Gill, restored fullback and used mainly as a blocker, rushed for 2 touchdowns. Bob Lehman added 1 more touchdown to win the PCL scoring championship with 69 points. And Leo Cott and Windham High School had an 11-man championship of their own. 2 weeks later, the team was honored with a steak dinner at Clarky's Bar. Which was given the more respectable name of Clark's Restaurant by the newspaper. And Leo Cott was looking forward to defending the league title in 1954 on the Bombers' brand new football field. Wouldn't happen. Instead, the Portage County League kicked Windham out. Now, it wasn't Wyndham's fault. New Superintendent John Minch, who had taken over when 51-year-old R. Brown Jenkins passed away suddenly, saw the financial benefit in Windham becoming an exempted village school. The Portage County League was comprised of schools under the direct supervision of the County Board of Education. And since Windham had gone rogue, they were no longer welcome in the league. Thus begins Wyndham's 4-year journey through the wilderness as an athletic independent. Although this was not a hardship for the basketball teams of Dick Schloop, who had increasingly brilliant teams which rivaled the best that Harry Kraft, Bob Jordan, and Marty Hill would field in the future, cobbling together a schedule for a small independent football team was a nightmare for athletic director Leo Cott. I haven't mentioned that Leo Cott did more than coach football. Every season since 1949, he reversed roles with his assistant coach and became the coach of the reserve basketball team. And then in the spring, he was the head coach of the baseball team. He was still playing competitive baseball himself during the summer, even playing on the county championship team with Duke Turner as the manager in the summer of 1958. He was coaching hot stove baseball, leading the Class E team to the county championships in 1953 and 54. And he originated the position of athletic director, which he then passed on to Ed Permowitz. Meanwhile, the Cott brood was growing. Leon Jr. arrived a year after Allen, and at fairly regular intervals after that, a new Cott would show up. Named Kevin and Mike and Billy. Now, Mary Cott was the archetypal coach's wife, holding together the home life of 6 rambunctious men as best she could. A 4-season coach who also loved to hunt and fish with Bob Garrett, Ray Byers, and Dick Schloop was seldom around the house. It was Mary Cott who made the deals at all hours when Leo returned from his unending scouting trips and the hours spent analyzing game film with his assistants in the dark recesses of the high school. It was Mary Cott who was the liaison with the Bomber mothers. Leo could not have been the coach that he was without St. Mary by his side. I can tell. Mary's fan club is here. Beginning in 1954, familiar names began to drop off the Windham schedule to be replaced by teams far removed from Portage County. Newberry from Geauga County entered the schedule to conclude the season. Now, the Bombers had many lettermen returning from the 1953 champions, but after 2 games, Leo had lost starters Ed Buck, Bill Donnelly, Ronnie Rinaldi, and Ron Hash to injury. After failing to win in the first 4 games, the return of Bill Donnelly and his scoring prowess launched the 4-game winning streak to end the season on a high note. In 1955, Windham's enrollment had reached 1,000 students, making it larger than the Ravenna City schools. But 200 of those 1,000 were first graders. The 1956 graduating class had 27 people. Now, Leo had negotiated with the Youngstown City schools to purchase some obsolescent light poles and fixtures for the football field, but they wouldn't be installed until the last game of the season. Newberry remained on the schedule, but a new school, Crestwood, a consolidation of Manaway and Hiram, also appeared. Leo had only been able to find 7 opponents willing to play with him. Every one of them a rugged team, since no coach, unsure of his chances, wanted to gamble on a small school independent. Maybe they knew something. New names like Dale Criz, Maurice Jackson, Tom Denver, Wayne Hall, Bill Kelliak, Dave Renniger, Milford Higgins, Larry Long, all Windham legends, had joined Lefty Bowers, who was now grown big enough to play halfback in the line. And when the Bombers knocked off defending PCL co-champion Randolph 21-6 in the opening game, everybody knew that Leo Cott had built another Frankenstein's monster. In the second game, they beat the other PCL co-champ, Ravenna Township, 12-7, staging 4 goal line stands inside the 10-yard line to seal the win. A shutout of Atwater the next week kept the Bomber Express rolling. Preparations to face undefeated Crestwood the next week were briefly interrupted by the buzz over the bartender at Clarkie's U-Bar, who shot 3 men who argued with him over the price of a shot of whiskey. Yes, Windham had finally voted themselves a West Township. And they were shooting people finally over the cold liquor. But Leo underplayed the boys' chances against Crestwood. The Record Courier ran a strange picture of Leo's backfield gathered around Leo as he kneeled and drew plays in the dirt. The only comment that he'd give the reporter was, "The boys are eager to go."